Hi, my name is Yale Bach and I'm the president of YHNC Investments, a registered investment advisor based in Las Vegas, Nevada. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I graduated from UC Irvine with a BA in economics in 1989 and a MBA in 1991. And I started managing clients' money in 2004 and earned the Chartered Financial Analyst designation in 2007 after passing the exams 3 years in a row. So I know what you're going through. It's not easy, and there's a lot involved, and I wish you good luck. With that, why don't we get started? The topic that we're talking about is the CFA Code of Ethics. And the Code of Ethics is the base for any institute member in terms of how you're going to conduct yourself with respect to anybody that you come in contact with. So the principles are to act with integrity, competence, diligence, respect, and in an ethical manner with the public, clients, prospective clients, employers, employees, colleagues in the investment profession, and other participants in the global capital markets. And the reason why this is applicable is that in finance we see all these examples of people who get in trouble because they forget their ethical compass. For example, we had MF Global, which was led by the ex-governor of the state of New Jersey, John Corzine. He was also the ex-CEO of Goldman Sachs. He borrowed a ton of money and he invested in foreign debt, and he bankrupted the firm. You also have the examples of Lehman Brothers with Dick Fuld, you have Bear Stearns, and on it goes. And all of that relates to the idea of the Code of Ethics, is to act with integrity. So this is a critical part of the CFA curriculum, and it's very important that you understand the nuances with respect to this topic. Here we're talking about the Code of Ethics, and it says, place the integrity of the investment profession and the interests of clients above their own personal interest. Now, this makes sense on an intuitive level. You don't want to take a client who's, say, 80 years old, and if they're living off their fixed income investments, put them in risky stocks when all they want to do is earn their interest, live off the investments that they currently have. So if you do something that doesn't fit with the client's needs, that would be going against what we're talking about, okay? You don't want to put your needs or your firm's needs ahead of what the client wants. If the client tells you to try to do X, you want to stick with X. That's the idea here. You're doing what's best for the client. Then the next idea is use reasonable care and exercise independent professional judgment when conducting investment analysis, making investment recommendations, taking investment actions, and engaging in other professional activities. Now this one is not an easy one to apply, because you have all these different forces which are trying to pull at you when you're employed by a firm. So for example, you're covering a company, and the company obviously wants you to write a favorable recommendation, but maybe their performance doesn't reflect that. So if you write a report that glosses over their deficiencies, that would not be consistent with using independent professional judgment. You want to rely on the facts, you want to present a full case, and you don't want to let outside forces affect what you really believe to be the case. And that's the key part here, is that you're trying to use your own decision-making abilities and your knowledge to be factual and honest in your appraisal in terms of whatever you're analyzing. And that's the key point with using reasonable care and exercising independent professional judgment. So another key part of the ethics is to practice and encourage others to practice in a professional and ethical manner that will reflect credit on themselves and the profession. Think about Warren Buffett. Everybody admires him. Why do they admire him? Because they admire him not just because of his performance, obviously, but because of his honesty. He's a credit to the profession. Or a Peter Lynch, or a Michael Price, or some of the legends of investing. That's what we want to aspire to. We don't want to aspire to these analysts who, when the stock goes from 50 to 2, that's when they downgrade the stock, okay? That's not a credit to the profession. We want to practice our profession in a way that makes people admire us. And that's a key part of the code of ethics. And then the next part is to promote the integrity and uphold the rules governing capital markets. Whatever the rules are, you want to follow them. And your professional colleagues, if you know that they're doing things that are not ethical, you want to encourage them to stop that and to follow the rules, because the rules should apply to everybody. And that's the key point here, is that all capital markets, without people following the rules, they break down. And so that's the key point you want to remember, is to follow the rules and promote the integrity of the rules so that the rules are applicable to everybody. So the last part of the code of ethics is to maintain and improve their professional competence and strive and maintain to improve the competence of other investment professionals. The key here you want to think about is you're trying to improve yourself. You're trying to find ways to be a better investor or a better analyst, and you're constantly reading. You might read Barron's, you read Kiplinger's, you read the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, you read foreign newspapers, you read journals from different industries, and all of these things help you improve your ability to analyze securities or make investment decisions. And that's what we're talking about. And you want to be able to talk to other investment professionals all around the world about topics that you may have never even thought about you would be interested in, but eventually you're going to get involved with them, be it commodities or fixed income or whatever the case may be. So you're constantly trying to improve yourself and learn, and that's the key point here, is to improve your ability to be competent and capable in dealing with your colleagues and dealing with the public. So here's a broad overview of the standards of professional conduct. You can see you've got professionalism, integrity of the capital markets, your duties to clients, your duties to employers, investment analysis in terms of recommendations and action, any conflicts of interest that you may have, and also the responsibility of a CFA member or a CFA candidate. With respect to professionalism, there are 4 items. First, there's the knowledge of the law. Second, there's your independence and objectivity. Third has to do with no misrepresentation. And fourth has to do with no misconduct. And then in terms of integrity of capital markets, the important issue of not trading on material non-public information and not manipulating the market for your own or your firm's benefit. So the third standard of professional conduct is your duty to your clients, or your loyalty to them. You're being prudent with their specific situation and exercising great care in terms of how you handle their situation. The next part is fair dealing, meaning that you're not going to favor one group of clients over another. And then the key question of suitability in terms of your investigation of clients, the kinds of assets you put them in, and whether they're suitable for their specific situation. Then we get into performance presentation, how you present results, and the confidentiality of a client's information. The next part are your duties to an employer. Loyalty, what exactly does loyalty to an employer mean? Key question of additional compensation. And then if you are a supervisor, you have a big title, you oversee a lot of people, what are your responsibilities to the employer with respect to the CFA Institute? So these are the topics we're going to look at when we're talking about your duties to employers. So the fifth standard of professional conduct has to do with investment analysis, investment recommendations, and investment actions. And one part is the idea of diligence and a reasonable basis for making an investment recommendation. The next part is how you communicate with clients and prospective clients with respect to these analysis, recommendations, or actions. And then finally, record and document retention, keeping track of the things that you do so that you can prove things, prove your investment analysis or your recommendations. Then we move on to the key point of conflicts of interest. There are many conflicts of interest with analysts or firms, and one part has to do with the priority of transactions. And then the next part has to do with referral fees. If you're compensating somebody, you need to disclose that. So all these disclosures of conflicts of interest are key things that the CFA Institute wants you to understand and know. Then we move on to the last part is, what are your responsibilities as a member or a candidate of the CFA Institute? Well, first, the reputation of the CFA. So you don't want to do anything that's going to degrade the CFA or compromise the CFA's reputation. And then how do you refer to the CFA and the CFA's designation? So these are the 7 standards of professional conduct.